Hi, this is Carmen Nunez, and I am doing my speech one for my class CST 100, and this is my audience. And one more here. All right, so we're ready to start. Okay, so thank you so much for being here today. And I just wanted to talk to you about something that I've been reading about a lot lately, and I find really fascinating, and it's pilgrimage. I always found it very interesting why people will walk such a long distance to visit these sacred places. So the first thing that it comes to my mind is what is pilgrimage? And after reading and researching, I think pilgrimage is just a journey. And for many people, it's a religious journey. When pilgrimage first started, it was supposed to be only for religious motives. People would do it asking God for something in return. But as I'm going to tell you more and more, these days pilgrims all over the world do it for many other motives. Some people do it for inspiration. Some people do it just for the joy of the adventure of the outdoors and the beautiful sights that you can visit. So there is many reasons why people decide to walk. An interesting fact that I read in Robert Shilley, in the editor of the Power Trips magazine, he says that the oldest pilgrimage known is dated from 15,000 years ago. So I think that's really impressive. Can you imagine? And this happens. It happened in Tibet, and actually people will climb up this mountain, and they will walk around the mountain several times. And apparently, the lack of oxygen and the physical endurance of the trip will eventually help them reach nirvana, which I think is really cool. So that would be a nice trip to do. So. But anyways, in particular, I wanted to talk to you about a pilgrimage that is very dear to my heart. It happens in Spain, and it's El Camino de Santiago, which is the way of St. James. And St. James the Apostle was preaching in Spain, and when he died, he got buried in the north of Spain, in Santiago, and they built the cathedral there with his name. So in the middle of the 9th century, when the final resting place of the apostle was discovered and recognized, people started traveling all over across Europe and across Spain to visit that place. There are several routes for the trip. I mean, you can go either way, but there are certain routes that are very famous and that are established as, the walking routes. The most famous one starts in France, in Roncesvalles, and it goes all across Spain in the north, and you can visit places as fabulous as Navarra. I'm sure that you have all heard of Pamplona with the running of the bulls, Burgos, León. These are places with wonderful architecture, impressive cathedrals, fabulous food and wine. So I think just because of that, the trip will be worth it. So, and it's very impressive to know that the UNESCO, the United Nations Education, Scientific and Cultural Organization, named El Camino de Santiago a World Heritage in 1987. So it's very well recognized all over Europe and competes among other pilgrimage sites like in Rome, the Vatican, and it's a very impressive fact. So what can you expect if you decide to take this journey? I think all the books that I have read say that you should be prepared to endure the weather. And you know, you're gonna, especially if you go in the north of Spain, you're gonna have rain and heat. So you should always wear a very comfortable and transportable shoe, light clothing, and maybe a sleeping bag. The places to stay, to sleep, the most typical ones are called albergues. And albergues are these places run by volunteers, sometimes they're even convents, where they provide you with the minimum necessities, they cover your basic needs. Basically, they give you a bed and a bath. So at the beginning of your journey, you'll get a passport, pilgrim's passport, and every time that you complete a section of the trip and you arrive to one of these albergues, you will get a stamp. When you collect all your stamps at the end of the trip and you take it to Santiago, they'll give you a recognition, you know, a paper saying that you are a true pilgrim. So that's really, really exciting for the people that walk. The symbol of the Camino de Santiago is the shell, the scallop shell, and there is many stories about why is the shell that I read about, but I think most people that study them agree that the scallops are very popular in Galicia. Seafood in general is fantastic and is very abundant. So the pilgrims in the old times, when they arrived, they were given a shell to prove when they went home, to prove that they were there and that they made it all the way to Santiago. So it became the symbol of the Camino. Other people say it represents different routes. They all arrive to the same spot. So that's also another idea. I think that is very impressive. The Santiago Archbishop gave some numbers, and in 2011, more than 180,000 people traveled to Santiago. Wow. And that is counting the true pilgrims, that is people that walk the last 100 kilometers of the route, or they bike, or they horseback ride the last 200. So wow. You have to make at least that to be considered a true pilgrim. So once you arrive in Santiago, people go to the church, to the big cathedral, and there is a big mass celebration where the most impressive things is the botafumeiro. It's this silver artifact that is hanging from the cathedral ceiling, and they fill with incense, and they just rock it back and forth across the aisles of the church, and it's breathtaking to witness something like that. It's very curious. I have talked to some people that have completed the trip, and they all say that at the end of the trip, everybody hangs out outside the church. Nobody leaves. And I was asking why people don't leave, and he says because they don't have the closure yet. They haven't found closure to their journey. So what a lot of people do is they walk from there to Finisterre, which is literally translates as the end of the world, and is the end of Spain. You can go no farther. Wow. It's the ocean. So people walk there, and then they arrive and they say, yes, I made it. I can go no farther. Now it's time to go home. So I found this fascinating. I would love, we have plans to do it with our family at some point. And I hope I have inspired you to maybe consider something like this. And, it's worth the walk, and it's worth the adventure. So, thank you.
Very good.
All right.